just like expression, I think it's one of the mindsets that we're all kind of resonating in. And the more that we stay in this field, the more that we stay, consciously aware of what's going on, and we stay together and we talk things out and we look at the papers, we're going to get to the point where there is no, even with the modern physics, like you, guy, let me tell you what's going to happen. When they start seeing the truth, they either obfuscate to the point where they don't even show up anymore because they're so overwhelmed because of what it proves. Going to just roll out, start coping, and just, ad hominem. I said all that to say this. We just need to stay together. We need to stay focused, go through all these abstracts and all these different papers and sightings, and just start and keep bringing it to the forefront and putting it out there, because people that are very intelligent, and everybody's got something to bring to the table. Everybody's got something, specifically personal, that an insight that needs to be heard, and so I think this is one of the most awesome times on this earth. And collectively, I think we're going to bust the mainstream wide open. All we have to do is relax and just watch unfold. So that's basically what I want to say. I want to say thank you to all the people on the panel today. Sacred, Proud, Alan, Shane. And Shane, I've been seeing you kind of, getting your rest in the evening when it first starts out, and you've been coming strong during the day on Stationary Saturdays, because I've been looking for you and your voice and some of your insight. I'm like, where's Shane at, man? And so I'm at the shop today. I'm doing some tattoos. So I heard you out there, and I was like, listen, check this out. So I just wanted to say hello to everybody on the panel, and God bless all of you.
Dude, speaking of holding it down in the streets, Sacred and Proud, 118 episodes, back to back to back, dude. Didn't take a break. Didn't take a break for an entire year. You guys paved the way, and every week, what's the one thing that everyone look forwards to the most? It's Flat Earth Fridays, dog.
Dude, I do like how all the people on Twitter who are against us go super hard and pretend to be super tough in the comments, and then as soon as we have an open mic like this, they run as far as they can, as fast as they can, and they're like, no, it's all this and because, and we can't, and it's none of their mean, even though they never mute us or let us do anything and try to make us co-hosts. All of them together are scary, right? That's the truth. That's what they don't want to say. All of us here in our various expertise and everything we offer to the table collectively will just be impossible to take down. You're going to argue relativity against Alan. You want to bring some curvature that you think is non-physical. You want to do nobody wants to do any of those things, so none of them are here. All they do is make the same 7 posts about the same nonsense things that we've debunked 100 times, and then when we ignore them, they're like, see, we're the best. We made the best comment ever. They have none of them have any idea about my awesome debunk I just posted. Victory, right? And then they go dance around, and then 7 more people come and they virtue jerk off about that, about how awesome they just schooled you from your lack of response. And those are the people who don't come here and speak. But man, listen to some of the early stuff that was on Proud's page about Witsit coming in at first, and talking to some of these people who came out with their chest puffed out. I assume that's what that intro was about. I've never seen actually a Glober come out and say something with their chest, but she says it every week, and I always giggle to myself when I hear it. So I assume there was a point at which people used to come up here and say stuff with their chest puffed out, and that soon got deflated, and that nobody does that anymore. And it's like a giant echo of times it used to be. But I did see Witsit answer some people that they never come around, like P-Dubs. That dude's super loud in the comments. I've never spoken to him, and now I see why, right? You go and look at the history. You see the first interaction where they say some dumb shit super confidently, and then Witsit slowly, meticulously, methodically, and then consistently destroys, debunks, steelmans, and then eviscerates them. It's like, here's your awesome palace. Don't worry about a straw man. And then just destroys it, completely wipes it out. So you have no chance to run or build your stupid crap shack or get away from the giant devastation of the wave that is the logic that he just gave you. Man, Anyway, watching that is why I see that now we have no one who wants to talk to us, I guess is what I was trying to say. I understand the reasoning.
P-Dub said in 4K quality that interferometry is bullshit and that you can feel the rotation of the Earth.
It's a solid arguing position. I respect it.
Respect, bro. Yeah, that's what's up. Shout out,
I'm giving out respect.
Dude, shout out to your boy P-Dubs. That's hands down. Like, I mean, that's hard to refute, dog. I don't know where to go from there.
You're like, you know what? You might be right.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can feel the motion of Earth with a scale.
Nice.
I don't want to straw man him.
I just believe it hard is all I'm saying. So if I believe, I know that movies have taught me that if I believe something hard enough, that it's real.
Man, that's so cool.
It turns out the movement was within you the whole time, Alan.
Dude, that's right up there with the blind guy who was like, "Yeah, dude, I seen the curve." That's the Flat Earth Friday special. There was a blind guy who was like, "Yeah, I seen it." Oh, word.
Really? Oh, poor Diligent.
Seen it with my own two oculars. Like, oh, damn. Aren't you legally blind now? Like, yeah, that's crazy, dude. Good times.
Deeper, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I find it kind of weird when a person's drunk, they have to put their foot on the ground to stop spinning.
Hey, I came in when Shane was talking about star forts, and I just wanted to. I posted a couple things up top for you guys to check out. You probably already checked them out before, but if you haven't, very cool stuff. There's a person I talked to who lives in Japan who put me on to the star fort there in Japan that I'd never even knew about, and I posted another one in the comment of that one. And what I wanted to talk about or just mention really was years ago, even before I knew what a star fort was, I was on Google Earth. I think this is around like 2014, 2015. I was on Google Earth, and I was my thing is I came into all of this through history, and I was doing some looking around at Egypt, and outside Cairo, somewhere in the desert on Google Earth, I saw exactly what that second star fort looks like, poking up out of the sand. I had no idea what a star fort was at that time, but I saw this like star-shaped, like just those things that are coming out of the dirt there in that mountain in that picture. That was cut. The same exact thing was coming out of the sand way outside of Cairo somewhere, but it was buried, right? So you could only see like a couple of the couple of the spokes coming up out of it, but there was more than one. And so I think when I think back, I think I saw about 3 or 4 in like one general location, but this is like way out in the desert outside Cairo. And I didn't know what it was. I was like, whoa, what the hell is that? Like Egyptians, man, what the hell were they building? They were on some other shit for real. There's probably more pyramids we don't know about. And then that was it. Looking back, after I saw that star fort and I remembered the Egyptian thing, I was the Cairo thing, I was like, holy shit. They were building the star forts down there in Egypt as well, or outside Egypt somewhere. So I just wanted to put that out there. So if any of you guys decide to go on a Google Earth hunt one day, because I can't find them again. And that's another thing, is I can't find the ones that I did find at one time. I can't find them again. So if anybody ever decides to look for them, if you find them, man, hit me up and let me know what the coordinates are, because I would love to view those again. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. Star forts really changed my mind about history. That's one of the things that it's indisputable. They're just about everywhere. Very, very centered in Europe, though, which is weird. Anyway, that was all about that. I had something else. I forgot what it was. I'll come back if I remember.
You just said you noticed they weren't there anymore. Pandemic happened. I was looking into the shot and stuff like that, and I was researching about SM-102, which is a bioluminescent photoprotein, and started happening and going down, actual CAD design of the actual molecule. And it had a write up, Raphael Dubois in the 19th century found it. It was in plankton, fungus, and different types of like flies. Well, now, if you go to type in SM102, you can't even find it on a Google search. You have to go into the biochem search with deliveries to even get to that component delivery. So the more that we look in and the more that we put them on the floor, I think the algorithm's just chopping it up. Oh, they know about this now. Oh, they know about this. So I think that's how that kind of works.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I wanted to mention to you specifically, you brought up an interesting point where you said you believe we're perturbations of the ether.
Yes.
I came to a very similar conclusion when I was studying the heart. And this was going back to the whole
Awesome.
debate about pregnancy and abortion. And I had to do a lot of research into what actually is life, and when should we be allowed to snuff it out and things like that.
Right.
So anyway, what I found is that the heart is a vortex, right? It's vortexing when it's pumping. That's what it's doing. It's built like that, and it's the electromagnetic center of the body. And we all know in this group, we all know that electromagnetism is essentially emanating from the ether, right? So they're perturbations in the ether. So if our core is a perturbation of the ether, I think you're spot on, bro. Whatever is creating us around that center, it's all coming from the center, and that's a very interesting thing when you think about what life is and how DNA operates, like you were mentioning. All of that stuff, man, it all links up together. We're gonna figure it out one of these days.
Right, definitely. I got into some research about the heart as well, the chestahedron, and about the chestahedron is it makes the sixth, mistaking the sixth plutonic solid. It forms within all of them. It's like the very first one within the inner core of all of them. And also, Dr. Sanford was on the Genome Project, and through he was an overseer. And so I heard an interview one time, and he had mentioned that our DNA is as if it's origami. And the reason why that it's a helix is because just like the folding of proteins, just like electrons on observation, the waveform collapses, goes to acting like a solid. Well, 1,000th of a nanosecond, okay, proteins collapse, and they collapse so fast. If it takes a second to look, it knows you're looking, which begs the question: how does your DNA, how does electrons, and how does the proteins know when it's being observed? It's like one of the most profound things to even kind of consider. But then they come up with all these different, obfuscated, just off the wall, wrong theories when it's just a basic, it's alive. There's something, a driver that is interpreting all of these different things through its electrical value that we're just like basking in, I believe. So, the helix is a spiral for a purpose. When they go to observe it, it collapses and it forms a six dimensional. I don't know if it's six dimensional, but it's an octahedron. And yeah, it's pretty deep. And I mean, I'm talking about instantly. They're even trying to create an analytical computational algorithm that can predict the folding of proteins. And I don't think they'll ever figure it out. I think the body resonates with this type of scalar frequency. And in fact, I've even did some controlled variables when I go into REM sleep, and I'd set an alarm clock, and I would see myself kind of fading out to go in sleep, and I'm talking super silent, and this vibration starts to rise. There's this transitional belief within consciousness that kind of is regulated type of system functionality in an electromagnetic pathway that kind of really brings us more in tune with the cosmic microwave background as we separate our consciousness reality and we go to this sleep. And it's pretty intriguing when you get into doing these control variables about sound with ear and then also sleep, because there are some different functions that are happening in different of situations that are taking place that I don't really think, since we're so dumbed down, that we even be consciously aware of. And now with all these ideas, and we see true Earth, and we see all this stuff about energy, and we throw away particle physics, and we recognize this permeating medium that we just like are involved with. All these different ideas start to transform into something even that much more particular and just beautiful. So as I believe, the more that we collectively come together and we think about all these ideas, it's just going to formulate into something just miraculously awesome. And all we got to do is just stay focused on it and just bring it to the forefront and bring these ideas up. And, collectively, when we come together, we become unstoppable, and the truth fears no scrutiny. It bears witness when it settles upon the shoulder like a warm summer day. So, and it's a frequency. I think Shane had said, or someone, maybe it was Sacred, that truth is, and when it's interpreted, it's undeniable.
Yeah. Something you mentioned there is how do things know that they're being observed, and it's something I think is like a memory. That's the way I discuss it. I don't know what else we could call it, but I think I think the entire concept of space time is really like change in memory.
Right.
I think there's a memory, there's an information membrane that's guiding the perturbations in things, or if it's not guiding them, as soon as there is a perturbation, specific types of information are transmitted through that specific type of frequency as a perturbation. And I think what you're alluding to is us coming together and really getting on the ball with that type of science. I think eventually, if we can figure out how to perturbate the ether in particular ways to create what we want, I think we unlock the door to creation itself in a certain aspect anyway. Because if everything is emanating from ether, if we learn how to conduct things into existence from that standpoint, and then build on that, so from that point, how do we guide it to become physical, and then how do we adjust that to become a specific type of physical thing, whether it's a rock or it's something like some other type of physical object. I think we can eventually guide that stuff to create what we want, and then on top of that, then guide the shape that it grows into, that it develops into, based on frequencies and harmonics and things like that. So yeah, I think we're really at the beginning of that, and if we don't get wiped out by cataclysm, man, we're gonna reach there in like 200 years. Well, maybe 100 if things are really exponential in technology, right?
Right. I sit down in the context of some of the things that I've learned when it comes to mechanics and different ways that even, we're told that, right? And you get to the nuts and bolts. What it is, I honestly believe, is sitting contemplating how that machine works. And you take these solid, forms of matter, when it comes like copper and magnets, they all hold energies. And so when you take these different forms of matter that have these specific forms of energy, waveforms, and you get them to move in a certain reference frame, what is not told is that it creates an insertion point, like this doorway of a quantum field, and it pulls it out of invisible wave, transfers it to the wire. Also, we found out that dielectrics is responsible for, part of the charge. But just seeing it in that different, that different light, a different lens, I think it opens up these different perspectives and different perceptions and ideas. Like I said, I lean on this so so dumbed down and lied to. So when we get these ideas, downloads just start just evolving out of the mind, and we see these new ideas. We, not just insignificant anymore. Things become less complex and more understandable. And it's remarkable just being able to sit down and look at something scientific and just see through them. And I think that's where consciousness is. And collectively, it's over.
Yep. Cool stuff. Cool stuff.
Appreciate a little time I had to speak, y'all. All right, panel, I got to go do a tattoo, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all. And Shane, good to
Nice.
hear your voice, brother.
Hey, Shane and Alan, I know you guys read a lot of stuff. Have you come across any experiments where they're like, beaming light through light and there's an interference?
Beaming
Just
light
curious
through
if-
light.
Did you just
and
say
there's
light through light?
interference. Not
Yeah,
familiar.
like, because I'm trying to figure out, like, if there's a paper I can point to for that. Me and Proud were having a discussion about light and, whether it interferes with itself and stuff like that. And I feel like it does. I can't point to a paper.
I've
Or
never even heard of
experiment.
it, dude. I wish I was there for the argument, so I had the proper context in which you could one up Proud. But
No, we're not arguing. We're just
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound familiar to anything I've read.
So what do you guys think? Because I know you guys are pretty deep in this. If there's one frequency of light, if we're using the same frequency, and I shoot my beam, you shoot your beam directly at each other, is there any like interference or phase cancellation or phase? What's the opposite of cancellation? Amplitude. That happens.
Well, if you have two different sources, right? The issue would be guaranteeing that you're starting them at the same time so that they're actually in phase, because they might be slightly out of phase, which would give you, constructive and destructive
Right.
interference patterns. So yeah, there would be some in that respect if it's not coming from the same source. Sorry, I was thinking about when it's coming from the same source.
Got you.
I was going to say exactly
Yeah.
the same answer. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Bring it
so
right
the
to
thing is,
constructive and destructive. Sorry.
just thinking like cosmologically, everything is interfering with everything out there in terms of light. It would have to be. Everything is supposedly every star is emitting light radially. Therefore, it's interacting and phasing and canceling and amplituding with light from every other star radially, right? So it's weird, bro.
I see your Ubler's paradox, and I raise you one expansion and acceleration.
Yeah, but all right. If you lived on a balloon, right, and that balloon was just expanding in every
Okay,
direction.
so imagine you're a loaf of raisin bread, and you're in the oven at 350 degrees for about an hour and a half, and you start expanding, right? And like the raisins, they're like, it just looks like they're in the same spot.
To every raisin thinks that they're in the center. From that perspective, relatively, how would you tell?
Yo, Shane, I gotta take a really, really hard look at the bucket, right? That's where I'll get it.
Listen, if you get to like just a tiny nanotech level, if you get like just really up in there, is it not in a parabolic motion? Is it perfectly level? Hey, must be. Honestly, it must be.
Oh, shit.
Dude, I've never seen a full-grown adult get down on his hands and knees and put his face to the ground to look so hard for the curve or whatever that it needed to be there. As a PhD for like a position means. You know that meme of the dude just like face planting on the ground looking at a golf ball in a hole the meme is like trying to find the curve looking real hard or whatever. That's what that is. He gets like right up against it and he's like, nope. Dude, like metaphorically, I saw him like look behind him and realize that his whole argument amounted to him on a tiny island in the middle of nowhere, and he had like nowhere to back up to. Like he glanced over his shoulder, and he was like, "Oh fuck!" And then he realized that he had just like 2 inches of island to try and like ballerina on to try and make an argument, and he was like, "Well, if this is the hand I'm dealt, I'm gonna get on one foot, play Twister, and do it right, dude. I was like, damn, dude, respect.
Dude, respect.
Do you guys know anything about? We were mentioning perturbations earlier with cosmological. What leads to, I guess, the decay of a perturbation? Like they talk about the spontaneous creation and collapse of so-called particles. I guess we would call those amplitudes of wave convergence. So if we're looking at something like a star, and there's a huge perturbation, or maybe not huge, but there's a strong, consistent over time perturbation happening that's producing light. I guess I'm trying to think about like how perturbations in a form like in this matrix and then stay put for thousands upon thousands of years, like as they're moving within the vortex or whatever it is that's spinning. Like, I think that's something that's pretty interesting. If they're so if they're not like physical bodies, or even if they are physical bodies, like how are they?
Static, consistent,
Yeah,
sonic,
so interesting to me. Static and moving.
as a static, consistent, sonoluminescent, persistent ether perturbations. There you go. Why don't you make an acronym out of that
There
one?
you go. Yeah, T-shirt that right there.
That's
Yeah,
what
I
I've
had
been
no
missing.
idea.
Shane. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. I don't know if anybody has come across like an experiment that kind of tracks that. But that guy with that I still go back to that guy with that vacuum tube and on YouTube there, where he does those experiments with the magnets, man. That stuff is amazing.
Yeah, well, dude, the thing about that I find most interesting is the specific thing on frequencies where, especially with interferometry and like fringe patterns, when you have wave interference, you have like constructive and destructive interference. And if you think about it with like regular waves, right, we're reinforcing or like removing from, and like mathematically they apply that concept to how they get gravitational influence from the sun and the moon, specifically in the tides when they're trying to use Newton's law of gravitation, the mass of the sun and the moon. And that's how they get the tidal lunar acceleration ratio of like 2.1 from the moon, because specifically they utilize a concept which is not even really logistically sound, it hasn't been proven to exist, of gravitational wave constructive interference, meaning that literally when the moon and the sun are close together, which is when it happens when you have your neap and high tides, right? That they say that because the gravitation's bodies are towed together and the mass now in that area is relatively large, what happens is that when the moon is next to the sun, the moon takes a little bit of gravitational influence from the sun, uses it in a positively reinforcing way that increases the gravitational potential of the mass of the moon, so that the moon gets to exert a larger force gravitationally on the tides, even though it's a 90-degree offset. And that's actually why mathematically Newton's law of gravitation means how the tides work, dude. And of course, that's within the equilibrium tidal theory with all the ridiculous assumptions of uniform activity, specific reaction time to, uniform reaction time to gravitational influence, and no consideration for basins and topography and movement and all that crazy stuff. But I just thought the constructive interference part, they just wildly willy-nilly get to abuse scientific concepts like that right under our nose, and then use the math that has no basis in reality to justify something that even within their theoretical background of speculation isn't even accurate or working. Because when it comes down to it, they still use to predict tides, they use tidal constituents and tidal harmonics, which again reduce tides to what? Frequencies, which means they're doing frequencies and sinusoidal predictions, and they're taking components of that wave and they're saying, hey, based on the previous iterations of this wave, we can use a series of interpolation, and we can say, based on filling out the sinusoidal wave pattern with the historicity of what we have in the accuracy, means we can make tidal predictions. And that's in fact how they make tidal predictions. Nothing to do with Newton's law of gravitation, certainly not in indicating the tidal lunar influence of 2.1 from the moon back to the sun.
Bro, Everybody needs to play that back.
I tried to go slow. I was being conscious.
Dude, that was actually really, really well put. I never even I've never really looked into how they do the waves and the predictions of the waves and things like that. So that was excellent.
Yo, it gets better, man, because what happens is when the moon is next to the sun, it's called the synodic month. It's a specific observed periodicity of the moon, but it's like really most tied to its luminosity. So like, you know how it goes from sun full to nut. So like,
right.
But it's actually, if you look at the Gleason's map, I put a video out where like, it's not that the moon is taking the sun's light and reflecting it, of course. It's that the lesser light can't emit next to a greater light. And when you see its proximity close to the sun, it proportionally loses its luminosity so that when it's next to it, it actually cannot shine at all. And only in that instance is it so-called influencing the tides with that 2.1 ratio of tidal lunar acceleration. So like they get away with saying, well, actually, it's when the sun is next to the tides, that's what's happening. And it's like what their math is saying is that, well, when the moon is in phase, it has more mass and it's actually exerting a higher force on the tides when it's near the sun. And that's really what's happening. That's what the tidal lunar acceleration ratio means. How two masses of so differing bodies can exert such a crazy effect. And that's why it's an absurd thing. And that's why the basis for that was Robert Bennett's paper when he tried to observe the tidal lunar acceleration, and then he used that ratio to find the centrifugal effect, and then found that if that was true, then it would be like something like 17,000 times stronger because the tidal lunar acceleration should be equal based on the distances and the actual solar masses of the sun and the moon. But that was from a different presentation.
That's dope. Man, there's so many things that just if you don't understand the underlying factors, or if you never looked into it, you would kind of go, yeah, that makes sense. But then when you look into it, it's like, not really.
Absolutely, because like again, that's their explanation within tidal equilibrium theory, but they don't explain the tidal offset, meaning that if they're saying the moon is gravitationally pulling all the tides around, how come there's not this giant tidal bulge following the moon in its proximity under any identifying method? Because it never has that. That's not a thing. So it actually is this offset where it's like 90 degrees where the highest tide will be, and that's directly linked to the moon's phase. That's the underlying factor, not anything, which is, again, in itself linked to the proximity next to the sun. So they got away with relying on the math, saying that, hey, because of this proximity and Newton's form of gravitation and all these masses, it exerts a higher force due to tidal lunar acceleration constructively, meaning that it gets to add to the gravitational influence because of that mathematically. Look, boom, it works. And they get to eke out of the crazy explanation of like, what the hell is that when it's exerting a crazier force on the tidal and the moon? But the offset means that when the moon is like, passing over it, the high tide is like on the other side of the earth almost. So if you're saying that the moon is gravitationally pulling the tides around, then how come it's always 90 degrees off? How come the highest tide is never where the moon is? Right? That's the whole point of what Robert Bennett was trying to put forth with his paper, which is what inspired me to look into it in the first place, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that I want to go look into it too now, but I mean, there's so many other things I got to do, but damn, that's crazy. I hope people get a chance to really hear this back, because I know it's early over there. Man,
tides are one of my favorite things, man. I did a nice presentation on germs, I think, a while back. I was trying to debate Ozian on tides, and I went way over prepared, and then he like dipped out of the thing, and I was like, "That's probably for your benefit, bro. That was gonna be ugly."
Yeah, like I definitely couldn't debate you on it. I'd get crushed. My goodness, that's amazing. I never knew that there was that offset that you're talking about where it's opposite. That's ridiculous.
So it's like spring and neap tides, right? That's what you'll look up and you'll find their explanation is a weird juxtaposition of offsets. But it's like, well, the tidal lunar, they're not going to tell you the way I told you, but they'll just show you a nice, pretty picture that'll illustrate the same. And then you get it. But even the equilibrium tidal theory is just this theory that actually all the stuff responds uniformly. The oceans of Earth respond uniformly to all forms of gravity without a delay. That's bullshit. It responds as if nothing is in motion. So no sky, no Earth in motion. Eliminates that. That's crazy. Like there's no topography, meaning so there's no hills, mountains, higher. Like they eliminate all the variables and still fuck it up. and still can't get it right, and then be like, okay, well, this is how it works, and then like, okay, but when we really had to predict it, they use a completely different theory, right? It's like they put that whole mathematically based Newton thing aside, and they go, oh, but if you want to know how high the tide's going to be tomorrow, we're going to look at tidal constituents and sinusoidal relationship. We're going to tell you specifically based on the historicity of it. It just means they have a nice mathematical model that predicts it very akin to a wave pattern that has specific amplitudes that they tie to what they call tidal constituents, like M2 and M3 and whatever, that have very predictable responses. So that's how they get high and high tide.
It's like and it's funny. I think like I'm starting to think like they just use those things and theoretical things that they can math and use them as presentations. Like that makes great videos. That makes great models, like you said, and they can show that, they can model it out, and they can be like, oh, this looks like this and that, and they can present it that way. But it's, but like you said, at the end of the day, then they go back to this other thing. But that other thing isn't what is getting people's eyes and attention,
Yeah, man. Like everyone thinks that like a tidal bulge is real, right? Because like they used to talk about that. They used to be like, "Do you think there's a bulge like I'm chasing like at the equator?" Like, no, that's not a thing. There's no bulge chasing the moon around, which there would have to be. If you look it up on like Google, you'll find all these animations. But if you look at the actual like tidal maps, and I have many animations that just show like the oscillating tide, and then you show the path of the moon, it matches not at all. It's completely random according to the path of the moon. So it's definitely not proximity tied to the orbiting body, right? Now, it does have an effect because it does have an electromagnetic effect within the sun and the moon. So, like, my unsupported speculative answer, hypothetically, for what's actually happening with the sun and the moon has to do with the dielectric sun nature and the magnetic moon, right? So they're not the cathode and the diode. I think one's dielectric, one's magnetic, meaning the moon like physically pulls the water around with the magnetic and all the salt water essentially having a higher influence on the seas and all the ponds and all that stuff. And the sun has an electric effect, meaning it has an electric field, and it has what's called telluric currents, which are actually well-known oceanic, like deep beneath the Earth's crust. They say it follows the solar wind, meaning that it's actually pulling the sun around. Like even in the heliocentric model, they're known to follow the solar wind, and it's the deep currents underneath the sun. But what it actually does is introduce a perpendicular offset to the sun and the moon. So the moon is pulling the water around according to the amphidromic points, which are like the tidal nodes, which run sort of these lines radially around specific tidal nodes, which they control the tidal amplitude around specific points. And then the sun has this electric field, which interacts with the ocean topography deep beneath it, which actually has this electric field. So once they interact like that, then you have the specific tidal influences, and then that you have a direct reaction with the sun and the moon, meaning that as soon as the path intercedes, you get the super high tides and the highest highs, meaning that's what actually intercedes with the spring and the neap tides, because that would explain the 9-degree offset, because it's always just a little bit behind the sun or whatever.
Deep shit right there.
Yeah, it's a piezo assistant special.
That's my scientific summary of what was just expounded upon. Deep shit right there.
Well, we put forth the absolute steel man of the globular position, right? And then put the shambles. And then I tried to put a whole different replacement theory in place to explain all of the tides of phenomenon, things that we know.
Oh, I remember what else I wanted to talk about. I was looking into the domain block wall, and so at the domain block wall, we have a counter spin that's happening. So you got the spin one way changing into a spin the other way. And I guess, I don't know, man, I had a question about how the domain block, so how light can or can't go through the domain block wall. And the reason is, in the model that we currently kind of theorize about, is that we may or may not be, but are probably somewhere in this area of the domain block wall. And my thing is, what we're looking at in the sky, as far as the sun goes, that light is obviously coming directly to us, or it seems to be. And it has all these interactions and effects that take place here where we are. So with that, where would that phenomenon be in relation to a domain block wall? And then how does light go through the domain block wall? Like, for example, if we're on one side of or inside the domain block wall, can that light even reach us through the domain block wall? And I think, if I remember correctly, I think what I was looking at is that it kind of can't if it's on the other side, or it wouldn't be like how we observe the sun. So then that would mean something different. So maybe we wouldn't be inside in the inner part of the domain block wall, but on the bottom side of the top of one half of the domain block wall. I'm just trying to think about where, saying like where we are.
No, man, you completely and thoroughly lost me in one of your crazy questions that I know are scientifically grounded, but usually completely whoop my ass, just so you know. So yeah, I'm out. I have no idea what you're asking. That's way above me, dude.
Okay.
Light between the other side of a block domain wall. Dude, you remember when we were talking about star forms and frequencies? Well, I found the video that I made a while ago and I posted that, and I put that in the jumbo for you to take a look at. I tagged you.
So all right, so think about it, right? Real quick, I'll try to do it as simple as possible, right? We have the domain block wall, and that's kind of like where the point of center of inertia is, right? Where you have the decreased motion or lack of motion. And I think what we say is our theory is that we're somewhere there. But we also have this light above us called the sun. And the way the domain block wall operates is it's where the spin converges and then transforms into the opposite spin, as far as I got it. And this is electromagnetism, right, happening. And light is electromagnetism. And so how does it go through that? If we're the top half, let's say if we're in the domain block wall in the center, and the top half is where we're seeing the universe, top half of the torus, that's where we're seeing the universe, the sun and all that. If we're in the center, beneath that first layer of spin, the light would not, I don't believe the light would reach us if the light is on the opposite side. Or it could be that that's how the projection is happening. Like we're seeing it on the domain block wall, and that's why it's all, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I need a visual. I need a visual to give you, and that would help. So what I'm thinking is,
I had my eyes closed and I was focusing and everything, dude. I still have no idea what we're talking about.
Damn it. I'll definitely make a visual and I'll post it.
All right, because like you're talking about the top of the torus and we can't see because it's solid beneath us. I get it, and then light meaning the observable universe is that on top, and then I'm with you, and then I lose you.
Right, got you. It's all good. I'll send you a visual when I make it up.
Nice. In the meantime, check out that Starfort video because it's super cool.
No doubt.
Honestly, I had it on when you guys were talking earlier, and it's got some fun, awesome music that I had on low in the background, and it kind of added a nice mood to what we were talking about for the stream.
I see RG's hand up. I don't know if it's really up or not.
I don't know if you see D3 real quick, RG. I sent you ChatGPT's response to your question. If you wanted me to follow up.
Okay, I'll take a look. Hold
on. Yeah, jump in, RG, and then we'll do closeout and upcoming events.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I did want to say, like everyone was saying, 118 episodes. I think I came in at like 80 something, but I do want to say thank y'all, and I'm very proud of y'all. Keep up the good work. Yes. So I wanted to know if anyone has ever used the this interactive software. It's kind of like Google Earth, but it's for the moon. Has anyone ever heard of that? It's called ACT, ACT. and I think it was in 2022 when they released it. But it is very, very in-depth software, and I've been piddling around with it a little bit. Has anyone ever used that software up here on the panel?
Not I.
Not I.
It's an
Okay, cool.
interactive software with the moon.
No, I got no idea.
Yeah, it's just like Google Earth, and it's a very, very detailed software. And I've just been playing around with it, and I wanted to see if anyone has ever used it here, and also say that I had really listened to a lot of things that people talk about the moon. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the Earth and the shape of the Earth or anything. I just wanted to bring it up because it's very useful, and I had been under the impression that I went by the Bible, the description of it, being a light, and not ever being a real solid object, and us just looking at it from here with a P900, we can't, and we don't have access to the big telescopes, right? And also this, I wanted to bring up, has anyone ever heard of these military drones that can stay up for upwards of 5 to 6 years? Has anyone else heard of this technology? No?
Project Loom talks about the balloons that stay up for possibly as long as 365 days. But I don't know
Okay.
if they lose functionality around that time or if it's
Right.
stationary. I would assume it's in motion.
Okay. This is the ones I'm talking about are it's called Solara 50 and Solara 60. They're solar powered drones developed by Titan Aerospace is the name of the company. If y'all want to look that up, or I can drop it in the chat. Is or in the purple pill? Is that working anymore? I see there's
Elon took our purple pill today.
No way. Is it going to be like that for good? That sucks.
Yeah, I hope not.
But anyway, I know, right? Yeah, this software is just like Google Earth, and I mean, I can read off a little bit if you'll allow me, like 60 seconds, or up to a minute and a half, maybe here. I'm going to read about it, and y'all will have a better understanding of it. But it's called ACT Quick Map. You can type that in, Quick Map. And let me go back here, and I'm just gonna read a little bit about it. So I think it's NASA that heads this up, but it's with Arizona State University. Yep, Arizona State University, and it shows the far side of the moon. Supposedly, I mean, I don't know 100%, but I just wanted to introduce that to y'all. You can zoom in really, really close too on the moon. And the reason I bring up the drones is because, dang it, sorry y'all. It is they have telescopes that they can keep up in upper atmosphere, and that way there's less atmosphere looking through when they are looking at the moon through those. But yep, that's pretty much it. Nothing major, but I did want to see if y'all wanted to give y'all's feedback, maybe next Friday or something, because I like the software. I think it's really cool. I'd never seen it until a couple of weeks ago, and just been playing with it. Yep. Yep. And I hope everybody's doing good, man. God bless y'all. And I guess I will land the plane there. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that, RG. Is Alan talking? Maybe not.
Nope, just
Shout
super
out
courteous. Mic
jumping
control.
down the keys. My bad.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what Elon's beef is with my mic tonight or today, but hopefully he gets his shit together next Friday.
Yeah, I think threaten him is probably the way to go. Why don't we all threaten Elon together now, like publicly, and that'll definitely ensure we get a purple pill next.
Kidding. Just kidding. Elon.
That made him mad last time, and we didn't even threaten him. We just tweeted at him. Well, in our defense, the entire space tweeted at him. But yeah, I think this about wraps it up. Another successful, what is this, 16? It's more than 16 hours. It's 4:41. It's almost 5 o'clock. As usual, you guys know where to find lads. Either cause, Discord. You could definitely check out Shane's ADL.place, his database with all the information that the Globers hand-wave dismiss. Space_audits is always live. They do their reading nights. They do, their breakdowns of different scientific papers. You guys could check that out. They always claim flat earthers don't read books, but they literally have a whole day dedicated to reading the books that they claim we don't pay attention to. Irony. I forgot what else of course, again, long live Bob Nodell. Happy belated birthday to the guy. He has paved the way for a lot of the giants that we support and love today. It is very unfortunate that we never got to have Bob Nodell up here with us, guys. That would have been so awesome. I mean this as humbly and nicely as possible. If anybody feels like the spirit of Bob Nodell is running through them, definitely reach out to Cammy, reach out to Alan, reach out to Shane, reach out to Witsit or Jaren, see what you can do to contribute over there, because we definitely want to keep that platform going. Globebusters has inspired a lot of people, so I would love to keep that going. If anybody feels like they could do that as well, tap in. Maybe we could get some like minds together and get that ball rolling for sure. Again, debate. Stone isn't here, but we do have a potential debate if Stone is still willing to debate. There is a anti-flat earther who is running around with quote-unquote experiments. I have to use the quote-unquote because validity is up for debate. But we do have a potential experiment debate on the horizon, maybe, possibly. We'll definitely let you guys know about that. I don't know. You guys want to add anything to the event list, event horizon? Sorry, that's a funnier word.
Phone Booth Podcast dropping on Monday. Shout out to the squad. Bill, Ted, Dad from Rufus. Witsit's back with Middle Ground and School in the Glovers. Mondays and Wednesdays, turn up. Alan said he's doing a Prezi tonight. Earth Awakeness. TikTok. Creating a second home base.
Early one this week. My bad. I'm sorry. I definitely think we should do an early live this week. Either, if not a Tuesday night or a Wednesday morning or.
Oh, do you guys want to do TikTok battles during the week and take me and my 7 new TikTok followers and we'll come slay some new people who are comfortably streaming on TikTok and we'll show up and rate them or whatever. We're bringing all the boys all at once. I'll be like, oh shit.
I'll be telling them. I'll be like, yo, y'all better be ready. I said when the squad get acclimated over here, it's gonna get a little different.
Proud you get to follow me on my new fake TikTok or whatever, so I could be invited to these raids or whatever. Because I don't think I'm allowed to make them, but if you make them, like I'm allowed to participate. I think those are the rules. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, we might have to go live this time around because we did some away games, but I think it's time for us to do another one of our lives and then make them come to us. Weed out some of the PhDs from the PhD students.
We got to get you to screen share with that nice thing over there, so we can get some visuals going. You know, is that allowed as a guest, or you have to make them?
Not unless you pay the Chinese for those 1,000 followers.
Okay, those are the rules. Okay.
See, I'm thinking Tuesday, maybe Tuesday afternoonsies. Y'all come pull up over there. We do a little level heads live. Get it rocking.
Yeah, we can invite some of the science heads that we actually ran into. I will say though, it's getting better. I will say from when I first started going on TikTok before Sacred was convinced enough, and I was ghostwriting his platform. I think I definitely think that it's improved. The quality of Globers has definitely improved. Less trolls and more intellectuals.
Well, people like Stingray, right? I bet are super comfy set up over there who have no idea that we know where they are and who they are and what they say. So if you see them doing like a live, hit us up.
You heard that, Proud?
Yo, imagine my surprise when Stingray was screen sharing his screen in his Blender program, and lo and behold, what popped up in the background? This Globe Gangsters Discord that he is trying to siphon people to join. That is so funny how TikTok and Twitter have all conspired to hide in the corner of Discord.
Dude, Globe Gangsters is like the shadow network of conflict. Like it's combining all the worst egos on the internet, and it's uniting them in their hatred against us, I think.
All that hate and still no evidence for their model. Anywho. Yeah, he's definitely over there comfortable with his keyboard. That's not shade. He actually has a keyboard, guys. He's a PC lad.
Oh, hey, one last thing before we go. I forgot to mention. Have y'all heard of these operations? But like high jump and Dominic and stuff like that. Did y'all know that in 1966 there was one called Operation Moonblink? Like you blink in your eyes.
Didn't
Is
know
that
that.
the wave?
No, it was an operation that they were doing like right in the middle of all the operation, like high jump, Dominic. But there was one called Moonblink. It was in 1966.
So what was it about? I'm not familiar with that one. I've heard of the other ones.
They put up across the United States 11. It's the infrastructure 11 like things to communicate with the moon. Like I've been on this moon thing. I got all the unclassified paperwork if y'all want it. It's a cool. You know how we made fun of people saying, "Oh, they put mirrors on the moon and shot lasers and stuff like that." Like I thought that was a joke, but there's a bunch of paperwork unclassified.
Yeah,
Just-
definitely share it with post a link and then share it to the top. You got it online so people can download it.
Yeah, no, I downloaded it on my drive, on Google Drive.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you have it on Google Drive, you can just share a link to the folder.
Okay, where's the folder? Dang it, I'm not good.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
gotta
good
learn
at
that
that.
Google Drive thing, bro.
Yeah, I
Google
know.
Drive, Dropbox are great ways to share documents.
Okay, Dropbox. Hey, what if I just put it on top of my on my page?
Yeah, that's
I
what I
mean,
mean. So you copy a link to whatever folder you have this in,
oh yeah.
and then post
I
that, and
just,
then we can go there and download stuff.
all right, absolutely, man. I'll put it at the top, and I'll also put that software of the moon um uh at the top of my page.
Can you give a
And I just wanted y'all to,
quick overview of like what was the gist of the documents that you're talking about though? Like, so what's the outcome? What's the TLDR of all that?
so um pretty much they said that they can tell the distance and shooting lasers and stuff back and forth. And just all across the United States, they built infrastructure, kind of like the dew line, you know, above Alaska and stuff like that. The early warning system, distant early warning system. It's like that to where, I mean, I know it sounds weird, but pretty much they could communicate, by shooting lasers up there. And, uh, they just built a bunch of infrastructure. I'm sure part of it is just, not as interesting as other operations, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, sounds
But
cool.
I'm gonna I'll put it at the top of my page, and y'all, just put some feedback if I would, But appreciate it.
So what did we learn today? Heliocentrism sucks. WGeocentrism.
I learned that Copernicus can be pronounced Capricornic, and that arbitrarily can be pronounced obituary.
Heliocentrics. Episode 118.
Heliocentrics. You gotta spell that with a TRICKS at the end. There's another T-shirt concept.
Uh-huh. Look, guys, heliocentrism doesn't work. The causal mechanism don't work. But even if we did implement them, they also work over a geocentric frame as well. Not only that, a geocentric framework is much more viable because it doesn't require the abstract concepts necessary for a relativistic heliocentric framework. There has been no motion of the Earth detected around the sun. And if you ever do have some evidence of motion around the sun, please share it. Because we've been looking for 118 weeks.
Also, Battle of the Beams is equivalent to a Wi-Fi router. That's also something that we learned.
All right, I got it. I got both of them on the on my page now, and just to give you a preface, like so Google Earth, it's a CGI model until you get so close in, and then at a certain height, and then it's all real, It's pretty much the same with the moon software. All right, that's all I gotta say.
Cool. I just shared your post to the top for anybody else who wants to download what he's talking about.
Same. We're about to kick off with the music. So if you have any posts up there, since we don't have the pill, be sure to share them. I'm gonna see if I could post some of them in the chat. But I appreciate you guys. I think that's it, right, Sacred? Y'all probably can't even hear me.
I heard you.
I heard you. Yep.
Okay, bet. I won't clear the jumbo, guys.
My bad, I glitched out. Yeah, this nest been kind of packed all night. That's probably contributed to the instability.
Kamala, Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce. Beyonce, Beyonce, Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Beyonce, 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 Beyonce. Party with Beyonce. Beyonce, Beyonce, Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce. Beyonce, Beyonce, Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce.
Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Why would they try? I got the math and science on my side. I'm running circles, it's easy as pie. Your reification is all falsified. The education is all just a lie. Don't need to replace it. All I need is you to face it. All I got is time and you just waste it. This is a gift staring you in the faces. Where you gonna get the truth from? If not from us, then who you dum-dum? Made the bed at your demise and chose to sleep to count the sheep since 9 to 1-1. Never been a fight, a fact of life, a choice of wrong and right that I would ever run from. State the truth, defend the youth and stop the coup. It's just a job that got to get done. Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Santa was real, the fairy was real. Why mama lie? My brother died, healthcare was bad. Why mama cried? The system is broke, this son is woke. I'm setting this shit on fire. Why would they lie? 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 Why would they lie?
Why would they not? The plot and derive by watching the sky and they know it's a clock. They picking both sides and listen with lies. The people pretend that they pick who they got. The people divide and then they disguise and now they devising a plot. You ask why they lying from behind closed eyelids. You disguising an iris that's lifeless. You're denialist, but this lie is why you're a nihilist. Guess you're lying for the pride then. They enticing the brightest to get deprived in contrived confinement. Lie about what the meaning of life is. Get a degree in a 9 to 5 shift. Only way that you'll survive this. What's that mean? They have to bribe them. Their only tactic when the model under attack is asking where a map is. If they lied about the earth, what you even asking? Weaving, blasting, everything you believe is backwards. Occult belief is practice, that's what they achieve in masses. Yeah, it matters, you believe what masses. Massive incoherent magnets have a weak attraction, that's electrostatics.
They always invert it backwards.
Wonder what's the verdict, pastors? Religious zealots preaching, talking past us. Sent a blitz right up the middle. Who can block the fastest? Falsify the radius. You cannot walk right past it. Yeah, they truly think they got the masses, but God's got the backing, so they can't stop what happens.
Why would they lie? 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 Why would they lie?
We'd like to thank you for attending this event. Please have a seat and settle in. We're about to begin. In debates over this topic, we're seeing an influx. So instead of wasting time, let's get right down to the crux. Now, traditionally, we've all been taught for many years that this planet Earth that we're living on is just a sphere. The panelists anyone with common sense would know that in actuality, the Earth could only be a globe. This theory of a flat planet is just a fabrication. There's years of documented ship circumnavigation. You liars came along and eliminated the truth. The ancient scholars have all demonstrated the proof. We have days, nights, time zones that happen as we spun, verifying that we're absolutely circling the sun. We're not circling the sun. The sun's above us. They lied. Day and night is a result of it moving from side to side. The principles of how are not hard to uncover. When it's shining on one side, there's darkness on the other. The sun's 93 million miles away. No, it's not. It's closer and smaller than what they taught you and not as hot. No revolving in an upward direction. We propel. The sun sits over the flat earth and the moon does as well. What the hell? You're speaking so miscellaneously. Where's the evidence to back the way that you claim it to be? So I need you to explain this to me. If the sun's above a flat earth, we should all see it simultaneously. Okay. Next question. You can both issue your case. If the earth is flat, explain the globe pictures from space. There's satellites that take shots and photos are captured. Those are fake computer-generated images from NASA. They've lied on many things for the illusion of advancing. And please don't even get me started on that moon landing. The pictures keep changing, so it's obvious they did it. If you research their documents about it, they'll admit it. They covered up the truth for years, believe it or not. It's all just a fake government-engineered plot. Well, I have a question since NASA is our space station. Its locations in the U.S. What about the other nations? See, many countries have space programs that excel, and they all have pictures of a globe Earth as well. You're failing to see this thing as a collective endeavor because you don't believe that other countries conspire together. If the Earth is flat, couldn't you go to the edge and fall? No, sir. The edge is blocked by the Antarctica wall. There's a block of ice surrounding the planet, totally frozen. This is the barrier that keeps everything enclosed. The governments of the world know. Saturday. And it's strange how that part of the planet is off limits. All right, back to the globe guy. Present your next claim. Yes, sir. I've seen the curvature of Earth while on a plane. It's the same with an astronaut. No, with all due respect, that curve you think you see is called the fishbowl effect. That window was probably convex and round too, so naturally the surface seems curved when you look through. And another thing that I would like to easily disprove, if the Earth is spinning so fast, why don't we feel it move? Well, I'm not surprised that that's the point that you'd rationalize and not take into account the Earth is massive in size and moving at a steady rate of speed that stays the same, so the movement isn't felt unless the miles per hour change. That's insane. We fly off of the planet spinning around, and please don't try to say that the gravity keeps us down. Gravity's a non-existent force that can't be grasped clearly. The physiological function of it is only theory, so the concept is a lie. There's no pull on the tides. We live on the top. There's no one on the bottom or the side. There's a question upon which I'd like my counterpart to expound. How come just the Earth is flat and the other planets around? Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, even the sun. Because the telescope can clearly show the shape of each one. Please explain the traveling over horizons by ships and the curved shadow on the moon in a lunar eclipse. Yo, one question at a time, bro. You hogging the mic. Flat Earth guy, the floor is yours. Take as long as you like. Your horizon question, I'll answer it in an instant. The ship's disappearance is all a matter of distance. And as for the lunar eclipse, it's an easy battle. The circular form of the moon dictates the shadow. So no matter what the shape of the object that's hovering, its shadow takes the form of the object it's covering. And as for other planets being round, that's a no-go. What you see in your telescope is different from the NASA photo. Okay, that's it. It's over. No more time left to debate this. We're glad that both of you were able to present your cases. So let me give my point of view before we close out.
Not around, not. You probably feet are standing to the ground, to the ground. You only see that 'cause it's not around, not around. You know the moon, it wasn't never found, never found. They made up everything, they made up everything. You probably feet will stagger to the ground, to the ground. You only see that 'cause it's not around, not around. You know they never left the basic clouds, basic clouds. They made up everything, they made up everything. Whoa, I did not believe there is a flat earth. That whole thing look like it is for facts, bro. Why would they tell me the shit is round for? Must be true cause that shit in the textbook. Only when the sun is out, it opens my eyes. It ain't coming up and setting on the same side. Then I saw the moon and sun is about the same size. Now I know that what I learned is a pseudoscience. When I throw a bowling ball at a bed, it doesn't roll around and come in my day. So then how the world is supposed to rotate unless the sun revolves around all our heads. You probably see a thing fall to the ground, to the ground. You only see that cause it's not around, not around. It doesn't roll but fucking settles down, settles down. They made up everything, they made up everything. You probably still believe in up and down, up and down. But can't explain the fucking middle ground, middle ground. It's gravity, then why the shit so bounce, shit so bounce. They made up everything, they made up everything. Whoa, I seen the pic took from the moon. Was Photoshop real pretty too? The bucket field was overused. Africa had too many Jews, and I once took everything in faith, like I'm sending monkeys into space. But when a map is open, I can say that it is flat and not a fucking sphere. The stuff you see is really now, man, and now you know the world is really not around, not around. You are the realist in the ghetto now, ghetto now. You question everything, don't believe anything. You telling people on Nintendo now, Nintendo now. That gravity was all invented now, invented now. The landing moon was shot in and out, in and out. They made up everything since 1983. Whoa. I'm mocked and disrespected, told that I'm gay, cause I don't believe the round line. I'm not gay.
Woke clowns gotta get a life.
Head on now, because you say the world is not around, not around. You asking Jesus for a peso now, peso now. You got a penny G, I could use anything. You suck the fucking cheddar now, cheddar now. You on the street with all them bottle hounds, bottle hounds. You mixing meth and fruity pebbles now, pebbles now. You didn't do anything.
Stay away from drugs, y'all. Stay away from drugs.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
It's just only just a plane that's flat, keeping you up all night. No need. Conspiracy theories that are top of the town. We got the facts, yeah, we're breaking them down. Nothing but truth, we ain't playing pretend. The world's flat, it's time to comprehend. Late night sessions, we dive deep inside. Playing with us, man. The truth, taking you for a ride. No sleep tonight, cause we're wide awake. Questioning everything, the rules we break.
Don't know if it. Welcome to the show, where you don't know if it's part of the show. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, it's part of the show.
Holy, holy.
I teach you to reach for the stars while opening up the bars and keeping you chained down with mortgage bills and cars. Vaccines for your arms, kids sounding like supercharged. Caffeinated hate-filled scars and rage-quit repertoires. No answers for yards, caught up in emotion that's not even yours. Imposter truths like impeccable retards, lined up for your serving of gish galloping wars. No remedy can save the lost, in love with the yarn. I'm tired of walking into refracted shards. Poor science displayed by disgusting bards. Soaked in sin with your dupe is delight and a new hand of cards. Been so long, seems like for love I'm just too hard, I'm just too hard. I said, welcome to the show.
Welcome to your favorite spaces.
Don't know if it's
Knuckleheads, hashtag Flat Earth Friday, Stationary Saturdays, gang.
You don't know.
Get a little scary.
You don't know. Intoxicated ache makes you believe you're spinning in space while you have no shame or grace. It's a disdainful state I used to contemplate how to save myself from my own self-hate. Wonder why I was even made with a dreadful fate. Forced to try and awake with a full plate. No one to help me stay awake or educate. I've had to liberate and fight through hidden gates. But my brother, heaven could never be late. And rockets don't work in space. It's all fake. The show is on Mars. It's a joke, but you're too far gone. It won't be long. Fepe's beak is strong. We have our song and we march along like streams of knowledge leading to God's holy pond and lives of truth that hits the bong and sings the song, turns mankind from the wrong. We come in peace with a holy gown.
Tap in with us next Friday.
Crowns, so the earth is flat and we probably just won't get along.
Let us know if you find the curve, man.
Welcome to the show.
Right, Shane?
Where you don't know.
Yeah, Ken. Yeah, Alan.
Part of the show.
What? RG, what up?
Welcome to
Rest
the
in peace,
show.
the globe.
If you don't know.
Here's Dave right here with the squad. I see you, Brock. I see you, Inversion. Canadian, what up? I see you, Chris. Mr. Ed, Athletic, what up? Symmetrical, what up? Ron Boston, what up? Flat Lads, I see you, Barbara Dan, I see you, Mr. Ed.
If you don't know.
Opie.
You don't know.
Howdy, Bill. Big Luke. I see you, Lynn. Yeah, Gig, yeah, Karen, yeah, Sweet. See you, Justin. Finding someone first. Karen. Who's the truth? Misty. Conspiracy. Tammy. Chris. Patrick C.O. Dub. What up, Michael? What up, sir? I see you, Cedric. Rose and Melissa. NBA. No Ben Beard. Last man standing. Shout out to the globe.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Globe clowns gotta get a life, bro.
Get off Twitter and go outside.
We out. See y'all next week. Gang.